Welcome back to Strawberry Inc. I'm Santiago, your host. Today we're continuing on with a topic that I covered in one of my old episodes. The one of white supremacist serial killer Richard Snell. I mentioned that he killed Arkansas State Trooper Louis Bryant, but what I have not discussed quite yet is the tragedy that occurred at his funeral. On June 30th, 1984, near DeQueen, Arkansas, Trooper Louis Bryant, who died at 37, was performing a routine traffic stop. The suspect, Richard Snell, pulled a gun at him and modified his strategy. Since Bryant was black, he killed him instead of complying. Snell fled the state, initiating a manhunt that would travel across Oklahoma. During his fight, he exchanged gunfire with law enforcement but was eventually captured in that state. He was taken into custody and processed at the local Oklahoma County Jail before being extradited to Arkansas. Snell would go on to be convicted of multiple crimes. For Trooper Bryant's death, he received a life sentence without parole. And for an earlier murder, the one of a pawn shop owner, he received a death sentence, being executed in 1995. But something very concerning is what occurred at Trooper Bryant's funeral, which was scheduled for July 5th, 1984, my grandma's birthday and a day after Independence Day in America. As part of the ceremony, four the Queen police officers were traveling in a procession to pay their respects. Captain William Mills, Patrolman Herman Jones, another patrolman William Gilham, and Sergeant Roy Brewer. Tragically, during rainy conditions, a tractor trailer driven by 46-year-old George McCoy of Duberly, Louisiana, saw the procession, braked, and jackknifed, striking the patrol car carrying the four officers. The impact sheared off the roof, killing all four instantly. This was not just a fatal accident, it was a secondary tragedy tied to the murder of Bryant. These officers were on their way to honor a fallen colleague, and a freak accident took their lives. Investigators determined the crash was a tragic accident. Therefore, they announced that no criminal intent or recklessness took part with the truck driver. There was no impairment, simply bad timing and poor weather conditions. There were also no civil lawsuits filed afterwards. The incident highlights the dangers even in mourning and ceremonial events, the importance of officer safety and protocols during funeral processions, the challenges faced by rural and provincial law enforcement, including limited communications and protective supports. The four officers killed in the crash were handled by the Sevier County Coroner's Office in Arkansas, being identified through their badges. All four were pronounced dead at the scene. The story of Richard Snell does not end with a single act of violence. It rippled outward, taking the life of a dedicated trooper and then claiming four more in a tragic accident tied to his funeral. It reminds us that danger can strike when least expected, and that even in moments of honor and respect, law enforcement faces risks we often overlook. My advice: pray before these events. This has been Strawberry Inc. I'm Santiago. Thank you so much for listening. May those affected rest in peace and have a good rest of your day. Take care and drive safe.